SOE!
Welcome to the Free Roams demo, where we'll show you some features and gameplay elements of Free Roams. So as a new user to Free Roams, your experience really begins at the website. So when you first get to the website as a new player, after you accept, the standard agreements, you'll go into Character Create right away. We really want you to immediately start connecting with the character that you're making. So as you can see, we're randomizing the different appearances that you can have. There are a really wide variety of customizations that you can make to your character, much more than you normally see in a free MMO. We'll also have playable pixie male and female, as well as a female human. So I'm logging into an account that I already have, and once I do, I get to my profile page for my character, which shows me character portraits. It has a news feed, sort of like Facebook, to tell me what my character is up to. It also has the friends list, which would let me join friends already in the game. This is the server select page. I can actually go to any server anytime, but once I choose a server, it launches the Free Roams client and I'm in the game. So as you can see, it's a big, beautiful 3D world. It's a typical living MMO world. So Free Roams has 4 main styles of gameplay. Adventure gameplay, which is combat and exploration. Simulation gameplay, which is pets and housing and gardening. Socialization, which includes the profile page that you saw, the Facebook-like social networking page, but also includes friends, lists, and guilds. And finally, mini-games, which includes both 2D mini-games, sort of like Bejeweled, Flash-style casual games, but also in-world mini-games, which you'll see one in this demo delivering the mail, but it also includes things like kart racing and Demolition Derby, which are full-on physics simulated 3D games. So you can see with the UI that I'm playing with here that the approach is very console-like. It's not like typical MMOs that are lots of little boxes with little text. Even the chat windows are very IM-like. When they appear, you can play with them on the screen and pop them by clicking on them. The dock at the bottom has all of your main options. And it's also very visual, very easy to use. Everything is very clear. We've designed Free Roams from the ground up to be a console product as well as a PC product. Free Roams will feature a card game that's playable in the game as well as playable with a retail pack that you'll be able to buy in stores. You can access things like your pets from the dock as well, things like the atlas that you'll see later in the demo and inventory. But really the heart of that dock is your character screen. So a little bit about how we maintain all those 4 gameplay styles, and none of them are required. The way we do that is with the class system. In Free Roams, you don't choose a classic character create. You can be any class, anytime, just by clicking on it. So I just turned into a ninja. And I will actually show you that you also can level up your wearables as you level up your classes. So I'm switching my ninja gear to the highest level ninja gear, and you can see the real improvement in the way my ninja looks. He's much more impressive when I level up his gear. The classes actually cover all of our gameplay aspects, and like I said, none of them are required. All of these level up individually. So I can be an explorer, or a postman, which is tied to an in-game mini-game where I deliver the mail, or a medic. And a medic is another great example of the visual increase you get when you level up your character. He's also a great example of how our characters and our world itself are a mix of modern and fantasy. So a couple other really fun jobs are the treasure hunter, the wizard, the miner, and the accompanying class of the blacksmith, who together play casual mini-games to mine for resources and create items for other players. The warrior and the archer, which are 2 additional combat classes. And finally, the chef, who is tied to mini-games and creates consumables that you can use for buffs when you're playing our combat mini-games. So I'll show you a little bit of the world here while I run to our combat demo. This is one of the villages in Sacred Grove where the pixies live, called Snow Hill. And it's actually a really fun, friendly town. It's a great place to start if you want to meet people and shop and play mini-games. Snow Hill and many of our villages also include a stage, which can host player events as well as live streaming concerts. One of the really interesting things about developing free roams is that decision to have all of the gameplay styles be optional, which means that in free roams, you can level up your character without ever touching combat. And that had a profound influence on the design of the game. It means, for one thing, we can really focus on characters when you go to talk to them because nothing can attack you while you're in a conversation. So you can see here the focus on this character when I ask him about a quest that he wants to give me to hunt down some Yetis. So you can see that he gave me a quest relating to hunting down the Yetis, and I can open a helper window that'll give me information while I'm playing the game about how I can satisfy the goals of that quest. So another interesting side effect of making combat optional is that we had to find a way to communicate to you as a player where you can go to fight. So we took a very Disneyland-like approach and actually segregated our combat into instances, which means you and your friends can have a really secure, safe experience playing combat without somebody else disrupting it. But we also have to let you know where combat is. So you'll come up to this gate in the world, which shows you the combat sign over it, and some enemies fighting behind it, and that's how you know where you can fight. Once I interact with the gate, I see this start screen that actually tells me about the battle I'm about to get into. And when I click go, it actually loads me directly into the battle with my group. So our combat is very focused on using abilities associated with the class, which for ninja means things like shuriken toss, and also fun abilities like sneak attack, which you'll see me use in a minute, to sneak up behind an enemy and stab him in the back. It's not very sportsmanlike, but completely appropriate for a ninja. So while I'm fighting these enemies, I'm actually earning stars, which are the mechanism for leveling up. So I'll show you now how I level up my ninja. I'm leaving the combat instance and going back to the main world. And then I'm going to go back to that same character screen. And there's a tab on it for abilities. And you see the same abilities that I had in combat, shuriken toss and sneak attack, for example. And I can now spend those stars that I earned defeating enemies on those abilities. That levels them up and in turn levels up my ninja. So I can show you a little bit more of Snow Hill now while I run over to the post office so I can show you a little bit of an in-game mini-game for delivering mail. I'm actually in my Explorer class, which is great because in Free Realms, since combat is optional, it means that you can explore the world without ever getting attacked. So this is the first MMO where you can actually level up independently without playing combat just by exploring the world. And there are flags throughout the world that you might catch a glimpse of in some of the mountains around Snow Hill. So as an explorer, I can actually figure out the path to get up the mountain. I have to find it and actually climb the mountain and then collect that flag. And that's one of the ways that I can level up as an explorer. This is a nice daytime tour, but we also have time of day in Free Realms so that time will actually pass and the NPCs will respond to the passage of time. One interesting thing about the mail delivery minigames is that when I enter this screen to enter the minigame, it automatically changes my class to the postman because that's the class associated with this minigame. So you notice I have a timer on the screen now. I have a list of the mail I'm trying to find. Basically, our penguin mailman has lost his mail because it's kind of hard to deliver when you have flippers. So you have to find the letters that he scattered across town. I have a star counter because I'll be earning stars as I find these letters. And I also have a sprint ability to help me outrun these dogs that you're seeing that have actually gotten some mail from other postmen. So that's an example of how we've made delivering the mail interesting and fun, and you actually are leveling up a class while you do it. But now I'll change to my treasure hunter and go off in search of treasure and fortune.